Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. It's Shannon, and today I'm excited to have another fantastic guest. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
I'm so excited you're here. Why don't you just tell everyone a little bit about you, what you do, and what brings you into the retreat space?
You got it. So David Schafran, multiple-time founder, used to live a life as a healthcare technology founder, including an MIT research project I spun out and did a whole thing for 5 years. Great part of my story. Maybe we could tell it some other time. But basically, fast forward to now, I'm the founder of a company called Somo Loco, and we do dance immersions, which are effectively dance retreats with a very strong educational component for 1 to 4 weeks. Medellin, Colombia, Barcelona, Spain, and we're growing. And I'm spending my full time in right now. So excited to share what we've learned on the path and what we're up to.
Okay, so I love so much about this. And as I mentioned right before our call, I was talking to another guest who talked about the importance, or the power, I should say, and the connection and the bond, and just a transformation that occurs when you incorporate dance into an experience. So I know we're going to talk about marketing and other stuff, but do you want to touch on why dance and like how much that really does like just change you?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll just speak to my own personal experience. I mean, I was running a tech company. It was a high-profile project. We had major Silicon Valley investors. It was my passion. We were helping people through technology, get eye tests and access to eye care. We did it all around the world in 140 countries. And yet I felt really alone and really disconnected from my own joy, my own flavor, my own affectionate side, my creativity. And I danced salsa once and was just like struck by like, holy cow, I feel so joyous. Like, yes, I want more of this. And it was such a clear kernel of truth that I was like, I need to follow that. Like, this isn't something I just ignore. And ultimately had the opportunity to, double click on it when, frankly, a lot of bad things happened. Turning 30 is not necessarily a bad thing. But for me, it was like I turned 30, I had a breakup, and I left my company that was my baby at the time, all in the same week. And I was like, I need something. I was like, the only thing I thought of that I could help me was salsa. And dancing salsa, it was like, it was so clear that this was a way for me to feel joy, for me to feel affectionate, for me to feel flavorful, right? And then a lot of other emotions, and then not just salsa, but then dancing bachata, which allowed me to feel sensual. And I danced tango, and tango was about tapping into my sincerity, my passion. So what I learned was that dance is a way to imbue your life, imbue yourself with certain feelings and certain characteristics. And it's actually a broader theme that embodied practice allows you to truly internalize wisdom in a way that just thinking about it can't. So dance is one type of embodied practice. Vipassana meditation is another embodied practice for knowing what impermanence is. I can go on and on, but the point is that it's very it's very clear, and this is true across Western and Eastern traditions, that embodied practice helps you internalize knowledge in a much deeper way than just talking about it or thinking about it. And so we practice that through dance for, some of these really life-affirming emotions that I think the wellness world misses on often. That it's very much about, sitting on a pillow, being by yourself, which, not saying any of that's bad. In fact, I've got a ton of value out of meditation. I'm an investor in some of those companies. Like I'm very much a fan of meditation and a lot of Eastern practice like that. And there's more to the wellness story, and being embodied and being physical with other people is a big part of it.
I love so much of this. I spoke to my last guest, and one of the things that I mentioned and shared with him was, who also dance is very important to him, is I grew up, my stepmother is Puerto Rican, and I grew up, salsa was like our love language. And I mean, you can't get me to do a two-step if my life for my life depending on it, but you play some music that has that certain beat, and it is really, I mean, you feel good for hours and hours and hours afterwards. So I can appreciate a tiny bit of what you are talking about. So I love so much about this. One of the things that stands out from our conversations and just looking up your information is you do things a little differently. And you even talked about productization. Am I saying that word right? Tell me what that means when it comes to retreats and events or immersion experiences.
Yeah, totally. So I feel like often people start retreats based on their own personal expertise, their own personal passion for whatever it is that they're putting out to the world. Could be a yoga retreat, could be plant medicine, could be dance for that matter. And while I'm very excited to share my knowledge and share my vision for the experience as an individual, I want to create something that can grow. I want to have more impact. I also don't always want to feel like I have to be at every retreat, because that feels like a way to be burnt out. And I've been burnt out before in my life, so I don't want to be burnt out again, right? And so the only way to grow, and any successful entrepreneur will always say the same thing, it's through people. What does that mean? It means getting other people to be part of what you're building, so it's not fully reliant on you. Now, in the context of building a software app, people help build the app, and then the app is the product, and people buy the app, and you don't necessarily have to show up every time. The app is doing the work. When you have a service like a retreat, the product is the people and the experience. And so the way to productize the retreat is to effectively have a team and be able to create a replicable process for them to be able to manage the experience in your vision. And so Somo Loco is built effectively through that lens, where the immersions, which is what we call effectively the retreats, are run by a team of people that have been trained, that have been selected to embody the values, to create a wonderful experience. And it allows us to run it all the time. In fact, we do. We run our immersions literally every week of the year. And I'm only there when I want to be there. In fact, I'm not there 95% of the time, but it's a replication of my own vision, because I designed it and I worked through it on many cycles of how do I make this work? So I don't have to be there, but other people can run it. So that's what productizing a retreat means for us.
Hey, it's Shannon here. I'm just popping in really quickly to ask a big favor. Would you pause the show and go review it for us? Please. Reviews really help us to be able to get more guests and more experts on the show to help you transform your retreats. So if you wouldn't mind pausing and leaving us a review, that would mean everything. And if you're not already subscribed, do that too.
I love this. What are some of the things or obstacles, I guess you would say, that you've had to work through in order for this to happen? And I ask this because it's something that I've explored with my team. I have a signature retreat that I do, and I'm looking at doing kind of a mini version of that my team would run, and I wouldn't be there, but then it would encourage people to then join the signature retreat. And so I'm foreshadowing or foreseeing some obstacles. Some of it has to do with control issues, but what are some obstacles that you think you've had to work through, or people would have to work through in order to make this happen?
Well, the first answer is what you just said, is control issues. I mean, any of us that are creative and have our own vision, it's hard for us to let go of control, because we think, oh, well, there's no way someone's going to be able to represent me or what I want, and also I want to do it because that's why I'm doing this. That mindset doesn't scale. It won't allow you to progress and grow the business, grow your retreats, when it's always about you. It's not about you. It's about what the thing is that you're building, right? What you're putting out in the world. That's what matters. So I think number one, you have to get over the like me. It's like, it's not about me. It's about this thing, right? That I created, but like actually now I'm creating with other people. So it isn't mine anymore. It's like, I just put it out there. So I think that's the biggest thing. The second part, I mean, it kind of depends whether you already are a personal brand or you're a company that has its own brand. I designed Somo Loco as Somo Loco from the beginning. It was never about David Schafran. Like it wasn't about me. Of course, I was part of the storytelling, but I was always clear, like Somo Loco is what you're buying into. So I think there's a challenge of kind of changing the brand a little bit because you have an audience and they have an expectation. And even with us, like people had, there's certainly like in our early days in particular, when we weren't as good as at communicating clearly that David, founder, was not going to be on the immersion. And at times people came on the immersion like, hey, where's David? Like, where's David? Like, I don't know. I heard his whole story. This is great. I thought, where's he at? And we just had to manage expectations that, and really articulate the program is like, this isn't about the guru David. David's not a guru. David's just some dude who had this experience that, he worked with this great team of people to co-create it together. So I think the messaging is important, to make it clear to your new audience and maybe current audience about like, what is this really about? It's not about the guru. It's actually about like the system, the people that are involved that co-created it, or whatever words that are true for your particular retreat. So it isn't just about the individual. And then I think the last piece that's noteworthy is quality, right? Like, how do you have it actually do the thing that, that you can do, or that you normally do, I should say. And that's a real challenge. I mean, it's people are everything with any business. So like finding the right people, making sure that they're aligned with your vision, like truly, that they are compensated, well enough for them to feel like really bought into it. And in a way that you could still run the business, right? Like those are all very practical challenges. There's no way around it, right? Like but it starts with finding great people who are aligned and get what you're doing and get how to do the thing. And then it's like, every retreat's probably, it's going to be set up differently. But we have, somebody who's kind of like a manager of sorts, of the experience, who's in charge of the experience going, very smoothly and great. And then we have other people involved who are, I guess, like individual contributors is a better way of, maybe like a higher way of framing, how we operate. And so it's like any company, right? Like you have somebody who's like overlooking the bigger picture, and you have a bunch of people who are like executing their parts that really matter. And every single individual is important because they're a touch point for the broader experience of what you've built. And like I said, they are the product. And I don't mean that saying that they're products. I'm saying that like them as human beings
I know
are the
what you
ones that
mean.
deliver the value directly. Yeah, but public speaking, so I'm going to just say that out loud. Like,
Oh, I understand.
but
We have to be crystal clear sometimes. I totally get it, but I
yes,
understand.
yes,
I love those
yes,
3 points.
exactly.
And two of the three, I think, would happen regardless, right? Clear communication is important regardless, but especially would be very, essential if you're building a product like this. And then people, that's always going to be a challenge if we're being honest in any business that we have, but especially so if they're representing, a big picture like this. I think the one that you mentioned on branding, that's a really good point, because if you've already been running experiences or retreats or immersions and they are based on you being the brand, you almost have to create a new brand, in my opinion, and have it be like, a sister of the brand, a leg of the brand, a cousin, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And so that way there's no confusion, and you can invite your existing database into that brand. But that might really help alleviate. I'm just speaking to those that, have created, and most retreat hosts have created their brand on themselves.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think, I actually think it's possible to do it under your name, but you'd have to be very clear about, that you aren't necessarily going to be there. Because you could have, I'm just thinking of like Tony Robbins as an example. Like Tony Robbins is a brand, and there's Tony Robbins coaches. So you're paying into Tony Robbins coaches, but when you go with John Smith, who's Tony Robbins' coach, you're going through the Tony Robbins coaching platform. So you understand that Tony Robbins isn't the person you're speaking to. unless you know that you're speaking to Tony Robbins because you paid for it. So I, I don't know if I fully agree that you can't do it under your brand name. Um, if you already have one that's established, like I think you might be able to leverage that. But this is where like the nuance and the messaging matters. So I don't think it has to be that. And what's true is like, yes, if you made a clean like, and we have this other brand that's like doing this new thing. But if it's the kind of the same product, but you just have other people doing it, it might be a lot of work. Like I don't know. Like I would try to do the low lift method to make it easier to do to execute this. Like I always look for like what's the biggest bang for my buck. Like if I have to build a whole new brand and build a whole new infrastructure, like whoa, that's a lot. Like can I just use my own brand? Just be like, hey, we've got like a whole group of trip leaders or whatever word you want to use to describe the people that are running the trip. And they're part of the Allison Davis brand. I'm just picking. I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know if people
Sure.
are even using their. Yeah, exactly. You get what I'm saying.
Hey guys, it's Shannon. If you've been dreaming about hosting retreats or taking your existing retreats to the next level, let's make it happen together. Join me August 22nd through 24th for an unforgettable retreat leader mastermind experience. It's going to be located on my ranch in the beautiful Texas Hill Country. Here's what you'll get when you hang out with me and an amazing group of like-minded leaders. Learn my top strategies for marketing, business operations, and selling out your retreats. Connect with other passionate retreat leaders in a high-vibe, supportive circle. Recharge, relax, refresh, and soak up all the inspiration our ranch and our staff have to offer because you deserve it. This isn't just another workshop. It's a chance to step fully into your role as a heart-centered leader while building a business that thrives. I'll be right there with you, sharing everything I've learned from the years of hosting retreats and running my own venue. Spots are super limited, so grab yours now at profitwithpurposemastermind.com. Let's create retreats that transform lives, starting with yours. That's profitwithpurposemastermind.com. I can't wait to see you there. Yeah, I do. I think it really just is going to depend. I'm still leaning towards creating a new brand like for instance, if your retreats are Shannon Jamel retreats, like that's the name of it, then that's going to be tough. But if your retreats are, I have someone who does surf and saddle retreats, right? Where they surf and they ride horses. That maybe you can still do it under that same name and just make it clear that the communication that you're talking about. So I guess it really just does depend on the actual brand, the name of it, the description of it, how it's operating. And then to your point, the communication would be just super critical. But I'm loving the concept. I think the concept is such a great concept because you're right. Burnout is a problem for retreat leaders. It's a big problem because you're holding so much energy and space in a longer period of time than you normally would in a regular workday. And that can be completely exhausting. And if you're doing that over and over and over and over again, you're asking to get physically and mentally sick almost.
Yeah, and you're not building the business as much as you can be. Which I mean, like presumably people are doing it for what they want to make a good living. So I think it's a big part of it. The only other data point I'll put out there, again, like many ways of skinning the proverbial cat. Fred Astaire is a dance studio. Fred Astaire was an individual named Fred Astaire. And every single studio you go to, it's not Fred Astaire who's running that studio, right? I'm pretty sure it's a franchise. So again, like get out of like I'd recommend like it's not about me. And the average person is like also not as like so deeply involved. But then again, look, everyone knows your own audience. If people are very like you, because I love you, because you're the person. Okay, like that's real, and you have to work through that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really does just depend on the audience and your branding and all the different variables. But I love the concept of get out of your own way because sometimes we can get caught up in our own thinking and belief system. And sometimes we need someone to push us back to look at the picture a little bit bigger. So I love that so much.
Yeah.
One of the things that we touched on pre-conversation or pre-recording and then just in our email conversations is marketing, connections, collaborations, people. And so do you want to share any kind of advice or tidbits on retreat leaders using relationships or collaborations, connections to grow their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think this actually, comes directly from my last point about people help you grow. So, if marketing is just based on me and my connections and my ability to advertise and all that, I'm limited. But the more I create partnerships, and the more I incentivize other people to kind of work with me, sell with me, or find that win-win, the more I can grow a lot more. So I think for our business, this is like a big part of our growth strategy, and it's worked plenty, which is find aligned partners that will sell our retreats with us. Either they come on a trip with us, or they just have a very attractive commission and they're mission aligned and they really love what we're doing. And that helps spread the word and get, not just individuals coming, but also big groups if we find the right partnership. And we've had several examples of this, but I'll share one. We had one of the top bloggers in the UK for women of midlife, people of midlife, but mostly women. We connected and was like, hey, like, love what you do. She's like, yeah, I love what you do. I'm like, great. Well, like, why don't you come out on a trip? We'll host you on one of our immersions. Just post some stuff, and then we'll see if there's interest. If there's interest, why don't you come out with a group? And she's like, yeah, that's great. So the investment was like, hosting her and her husband on our immersion, which we were already hosting anyway. So like, it's not crazy. And obviously I believe in what we do. So I assumed that we would deliver, which we did. She loved it. Huge, like life-changing for her and her husband. And then she like wrote a blog about it. I didn't even pay her to do that. She was so compelled to do it that she did it anyway. And she got 60 people, interested in coming on a trip. And now we're like about to have a call with the whole group. Might have like, whatever, somewhere from 40, 60 people because of that one relationship. And if you just do a lot of those relationships, you could see like how much you can grow your business. That's a lot of people.
I love this. I have a couple of thoughts on it. The first one is I've done this with, we'll call them contractors, but people that I've brought into my retreat space. So I have an incredible yoga instructor who's just a beautiful human being. And we've set up a commission structure because she obviously has people who she works with, talks to, a following, whatever you want to call it. And so anytime she brings any of her folks on the retreat, there's a commission structure there. So I love that partnership, especially with relationships that you create in your business. I just think that that's beautiful, and it's a win-win for all three people involved, right? You, the partner, and the people that they invite and bring into the space. It's just a beautiful exchange all the way around. The other thing is you mentioned that this person that you brought in, it was a blogger. And I get a lot of questions from people on influencers and bloggers and how they can import them into retreat spaces. And we do that here at our retreat center that we own here in Texas, where we will host influencers and bloggers. And it can be such a beautiful experience as long as yours sounds like it worked out great the way you did it. But we always set parameters. If we're going to exchange, give you a space for either free or very discounted, then this is what we do: ask and exchange these types of posts, this types of whatever. I don't tell you what to write, just how many pieces of content, right? Posts or whatever. That can be so powerful. And then creating a commission structure with it. I love that so much. So I'm so glad that you're sharing that.
Yeah, totally. And I think finding how to do it has been a journey as well, right? Like we also bought into some influencer platform at some point and did a spray and pray campaign. It did diddly, like it did nothing. And also, by the way, with ChatGPT now, those platforms seemingly are useless. But anyway, sunk cost at this point, just, but I think tools like ChatGPT are like really powerful for doing research, actually. And finding the right influencer, I think, is the biggest challenge. And I think it's, unless like either you do yourself, you have somebody who has a business development mind who knows how to do that. Because I tried to outsource it to a virtual assistant and that type of thing, and it was challenging. Like it just didn't really produce the quality that I wanted. And like partners are real people, and you want to have a real relationship with them, particularly with something like this. So it's not a spray and pray thing. Like I think it's being really thoughtful about who's your audience. Who are the people that are really engaging with this audience? Is there like a real clear like connection there? If there is, then it's like, great, now who are the people that would be in that realm, and And once you have that, you have understanding of that, you find these individuals, you know, I think like having this structure of like, okay, you can come out on a trip, you can, you know, I expect you just to post some content. We've tried sometimes to be like, hey, if you want to come out, like maybe you just tell people that you're already coming out and you're not saying that you've been on already, but you're saying, hey, I'm coming out, I want to join, right? Like if it's that type of person, so that also takes away some of the edge for me of be like, oh, we're going to pay for it, but maybe I won't get anything out of it, right? It's like, well, if you're going to promote it already, well, number one, you're promoting it, so thank you. And number two, like maybe someone else will come and it's like, okay, well, I'd already paid for your trip, independent whether you end up co-hosting or coming out with a big group in the future, because that's obviously, you know, unknown. But the minimum, we expect them to, you know, put some content out there. And when you do the commission structure, they have a reason to put it out there and do a better job. And it's like, why not? You have a customer acquisition cost presumably baked into your marketing. So there you go. It's just CAC, right? It's customer acquisition cost. So it's fine.
Yeah, I love that. I'm lucky because our city where I live, they actually do a lot of this as well. And we do partnerships with them and they vet them out and they create contracts and they do all kinds of stuff so that a lot of the grunt work is done and the audience makes sense and the demographics make sense and their engagement makes sense and all of that stuff. Because all of that stuff is important. You don't want to just invite anybody or just allow anybody into your space because it can also dilute the process as well. Is there anything else that you want to share with retreat leaders before I want to get to your particular offering because it just looks so fun and unique, and I want you to share that with the audience, and maybe somebody would want to join and see how this looks in action. But is there anything else, advice or tips that you want to give retreat leaders to grow their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's a crowded world of a lot of offerings, a lot of things, all the things. So I think differentiating is really important. Sometimes differentiating is through your product, like you carve out, you know, a niche, and other times it's your branding and messaging. It's like telling your story in a very particular way. So I just think it's really important to like know what makes you different and really double down on that. Because otherwise, you know, it's hard to stand out when you have like the world of retreats of stuff and it's only more and more. And, you know, I think it's really important. So yeah, with that, we have quite a niche retreat ourselves, which I think has been to our benefit. So Somo Loco, again, we host 1 to 4 week dance immersions in various dance styles, mostly Latin dance. So salsa is our biggest style. We also do bachata, tango, zouk, reggaeton, and other hip hop styles. We operate in Medellin, Colombia. They say Medellin, Colombia. We also have a nascent operation in Barcelona, Spain, which is where I'm at right now. We have immersions happening right now as I'm here. And they're really an opportunity to not only learn these dances, but to also experience the essence of these dances in these cultures, the emotions, the joy, the flavor, the affection of salsa, the sensuality of bachata, the passion and sincerity of tango. It's a really profound experience for certain people. It's also just a really fun experience and rejuvenating experience for people. So it's for people of all levels of dance. You can come with zero experience. It's very common. You can come as an individual. You can come as a couple. You can come as a group of friends. You could bring a whole group of people from your company, a bachelorette, honeymoon. I mean, literally, we take groups all the time. Birthdays, great celebratory experience. And yeah, we love to collaborate, as we just shared on this, on this podcast. So, if you're interested at all in collaborating with us, please reach out. I know we'll have some links and whatnot in the notes of the podcast, but it's somoloco.com, and all the emails and whatnot come to me, so I will personally respond to you. And yeah, it's a beautiful experience, and it's just a really nice thing to be able to offer people.
I love that. And one thing that David is offering is 10% off for anybody that's listening that wants to join one of the immersions, and that code will be in the show notes, so you can use that code if you'd like to join him or his team, probably his team, on an immersion, because I think it sounds so fascinating and so very cool. And I love this idea of collaboration. So if you're listening and you're thinking, wait, I've got something that really will work with David and his team, then please reach out. And David, thank you so much for sharing your story, but also your product and some tips for our hosts. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, Shannon. It's great to be here.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.